use headphones for best experience. Thanks for your fantastic support. Hi, welcome to another video. I think this is gonna be a quite short video. I haven't uploaded anything for a while, I'm sorry about that. But there will be more videos eventually. I have a lot of ideas, projects going on. Doing a lot of research at the moment, reading a lot about Elder Scrolls lore, and the last couple of days I've read a lot about alphabets and writing systems of the world, the history about how the evolution of the alphabet we're using in, for example, the English language, the Latin alphabet, the evolution of that, what it comes from, its origins, and other alphabets that have derived from those oldest sources of texts that we found. It's very interesting. It's a topic that have always fascinated me, and that it's so complex, and I always forget when I read about it. I want to learn more and more and more, and I'm trapped in Wikipedia in a way, and then it's so much information that I start to forget. I can't really sort out the most important. What I can't pick and select important parts of it to get an overview. But one who does that is Matt Baker, who create these fantastic charts, posters. You can find his work in UsefulCharts.com and on YouTube and on Instagram as well. He sent me this chart, and I think it's just fantastic. You can see Abjads. Abjads is the first type of alphabet before vowels were added to it, so it consisted of only consonants, and you had to know in advance or guess the vowels in between the consonants. Then we have the alphabets, starting with the Greek alphabet, because the ancient Greeks, they added vowels to this writing system. And characters evolved. You can track it back to Egyptian hieroglyphs, Proto-Sinaitic, probably the first writing system that kind of relates to how we use alphabets today, so that each character has a sound. And phonation alphabet. Here you can start to recognize letters that we're used to today. A, Aleph, was like a picture of the head of an ox. B was probably, this could be a house or a home or a tent seen from above, like a floor plan. Here's the door opening. Could be. I guess you have to guess a lot when it's these really old characters, Proto-Sinaitic, 1750 BCE. Almost 4,000 years ago. It's the possible basis for the Phoenician alphabet. And it's like before, when this was the Proto-Sinaitic script was discovered, it was like the missing link between Egyptian hieroglyphs and Phoenician alphabet. And so on. Gimel. I read that this could be a representation of a throwing stick, a weapon, like a boomerang, used by the Egyptians. And the dalet, a fish, or a door, the door of a tent, perhaps. Two different explanations or guesses. Also like a fish god, I think. In some culture here, around here. Here are the origins of the letter E, epsilon. Looks really funny. It's a figure holding up their hands. I read that this could be read as a celebration somehow. So I guess the arms and the neck and the head and the other arm somehow turned into these arms of the letter E that used to be pronounced with an H, so this was actually one of two H letters representing what's now considered in many languages as an H. In Hebrew it's still H, in Arabic it's still H. But in Greece they stopped, at some point they stopped, in many dialects stopped pronouncing the H before the E vowel, so it became a vowel, the vowel E. And the other H letter, head, looks like stairs somehow. Or a courtyard. I've read it could be representing a courtyard or stairs. This is pronounced more in the back of the throat somehow, at least in Arabic. Something like that. And in Hebrew, I guess it's pronounced more like so a little different. extensions here. In Greece, also the H sound preceding what became the vowel disappeared somehow, so then it was ita, spelled with an H but pronounced just E. So we have E for epsilon and E for eta. Iota. There are like many signs for, I mean E for me, that's this letter, because I speak mostly Swedish. So I would say for the E sound I would use iota. But of course it differs depending on what language you speak. The English vowels are so confusing to me. The I, A for the E and A letters, for example. And the E pronunciation for the E letter. I never learn how to cope with that, really. It's really not intuitive for me. Here we have a print of the International Phonetic Alphabet, revised in 2018. Found this very interesting, but also hard to learn and memorize. It's how you pronounce consonants in various languages. So, however you pronounce the consonants, it should be represented here in this chart somehow. So you can describe it in a way that's not depending on which language you speak. So if you're learning language, all pronunciation could be translated into this type of language, the phonetic alphabet. I'll try to pronounce these sounds. Here we have P and P. When there are two letters like this, left and right, then the left one is how do you say it? Voiced. It's not. You're not using the voice, and here you use the voice. So P or P. Here we have then you're using the voice, and you can't really pronounce this without using your voice. This one I will not try to pronounce, I've never tried it. Kind of trill, using your lips. Here we have and no, sorry. What's this? Maybe. And V. And here we have F and V. It's a voiced version. lower teeth to the upper lip, perhaps. Tap or flap. Will not try. Trill and tap and flap. Seems like could be hard to like get it right from the first try. Anyway, here we have the and the. And in this region here, the dental or alveolar or post-alveolar section of the mouth. Here we have a lot of variation actually. When you're touching the teeth, the back of the front teeth with the tip of your tongue, and alveolar, then you touch the front, or like the ridge between the hard palate and the front teeth with the tip of your tongue. And then it's s and z if it's voiced. And it's a fricative. It means you have a stream of continuous airflow. You can also do it like a stop or plosive, like you do with p and p. Then it becomes t and t. Nasal, then it becomes trill. Then it becomes r. Maybe what I just said could also be this one, I'm not sure. R. No. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Tap or flap, I'm not sure. Lateral fricative. So if I start with s, then make it lateral. S. And l, probably. I think the L sound that you can hear in some languages, for example Icelandic, could be probably these or this one, not sure. Not sure which L I'm using, mostly when I speak. That's a neutral L to me. It's definitely alveolar. I would say it's this one, but I'm not sure. It could be this one. Oh, this one. Then we have further back in the mouth and the post-alveolar area. Here you can pronounce sh and j. Retroflex. Then it's like the tip of your tongue goes first, like in like bending the tongue, so it starts to go back before it meets the palate. Then it becomes a distinct sound like t, t, n, r, s, s, sh. a bit more like R, like you're pronouncing some kind of R in combination with all these. Then we have the palatal consonants, and this one represented by a C, I think is sh. Voiced version is j. Okay, that's not a plosive, that's fricative, because it's a continuous stream of air. So sh, j. This was sh, j. This is sh, j. I think also there's a variation not listed in the main chart there, that you have to learn when you're learning German. And now I'm not sure again, maybe I mixed this up, but I think this could be the versions used a lot in German language, like the sh, ich, sh, and j, j, sh, j. Alveolo-palatal fricatives. Or if it's the other way around, I'm not sure. And the approximate, I guess it's kind of y, 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 that I use a lot in Swedish, for example. This one I'm not sure. Then we're here at the Velar consonant. So this is the hard palate, the tongue against the hard palate, front part of the palate, and this is the tongue against the soft palate, the back of the palate. So we have, start here, we have the, or actually I can start here, we have these are really easy to recognize to me. It's k, 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 and g, 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 the voiced version, and ng. It's used a lot in Swedish. Ng. Then it's spelled N and G, so it's a letter combination for this sound, N, G. And it's not in Swedish, it's a lot of languages using this way to represent this sound, I guess. And if we do a fricative of that sound, so we start with k and transform it into or not too far to the back, because then it becomes uvular. Uvular is when you use the uvula to make sounds. At the very back of your mouth, where it connects to the throat. I guess the last part of the mouth that you can see when you're looking to a mirror. There are a lot of ways you can pronounce the letter R with. In Sweden it depends a lot on where you live and what dialect you speak, so I guess this is a common way to pronounce R, or with a trill. Or if it's a tap or flap. And retroflex, r, r, r. is almost a fricative, I guess. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. It must be something like that. And so when you pronounce and it has to be on this velar, place for the velar, the soft palate, and not the uvula, because then it becomes these. I will not try to pronounce these because I haven't really thought about what this can be. Then we have, if you pronounce using only your throat, you can't go further down pronouncing than the glottal area, because that's the vocal cords where the voice like starts. You can't make distinct sounds beneath this point. So it's really deep. But this is like in the middle of the throat between uvula, which you can see when you look into a mirror, and the vocal cords. When you pronounce consonants using only this area for pronunciation, then you can pronounce something like and if it's voiced, and these are really important sounds when you're learning Arabic, because these sounds are used a lot in the Arabic language. Also this glottal stop, used in English as well, when you say uh-oh, it's like a stop. You're saying H, but it's a stop. It's plosive. See? Plosive. So if you say and then do a stop with the glottis, and if you do a voiced version of it, I think it's really difficult. No, I can't say it. Maybe it's when you use a creaky voice, perhaps. Not sure. But we have, I think these are really interesting right now, because there are only two sounds and you're not using them in many languages. Not in Swedish, not in English, I guess. But actually today, when I try to practice these sounds a bit, the and not now I think I'm using the uvula. I have to go to the pharynx. There, I think it is. Then what was I about to say? I started to think of a Swedish old dialect that you speak in Småland. It's the southern part of Sweden, but not the most southern part. It's like in between the capital area, Stockholm area, and the most southernmost area, Skåne. Yeah, in between these places, there you have Småland and Östergötland. But I think this is mainly in Småland. I think you could use this sound when you pronounce. A lot of people use this when they pronounce the letter R. And for example, in the place name, a small place, village called well, I would say Ringarum, because it's spelled with an R. Ringarum, 2 R in this name. But then I've heard people saying something like Ringarum, Ringarum, Ringarum. So it's not even using the uvula, like you would say probably in southern part of Sweden. Ringarum, Ringarum. It's even more deep. It's like in the middle of the throat here, I think, because when I say it using this way to pronounce it, I think I sound like a person born and raised in Ringarum, Ringarum. And this letter is this sound I think you also use in the Arabic language when you pronounce the letter Ain, which has it's very difficult to describe in other languages because it's not very easy to compare it to what other words that you can relate to, how you use this sound or what sound to produce. But I will start thinking about pronouncing Ringarum when I try to pronounce the Arabic Ain, Ain. And the voiceless version is Now let's do some writing. And I can finally use this. Maybe you recognize it from the intro. The notepad that I use for writing supporter's name on it. And I'm usually not a huge fan of lined paper like this. I usually prefer to be able to mix writing and drawing. But today I will do some writing. And let's start with the Greek alphabet. I actually tried to learn the Greek alphabet, the characters, and also the pronunciation a while ago, a couple of years ago. It was when I was really interested in math, studied some maths, because I was very confused about all these new characters. I couldn't really recognize them, and I kind of mixed it all up. So I finally said to myself, I'd better learn this alphabet, so it doesn't just looks like mysterious characters to me when they appear in the books about maths that I was studying. So I learned it. I remember I learned it from a song actually that I found on YouTube. But now let's see if I can write the Greek alphabet. So there are capital letters and what's it called? The lowercase letters. To change from automatic to manual zoom, because on this white paper like this, the zoom gets very wiggly. Here I would like to add a letter that's not used in the Greek alphabet today. But historically it has been used. We have alpha, beta, gamma, delta, epsilon, vav or digamma, zeta. Eta, theta, iota, kappa, lambda, mi, ni. We have this one, really cool letter, I think. Both the uppercase and the lowercase. I really like the look of this one. Ni, Xi, Omicron, P. P is probably the first of all these characters and letters from the Greek alphabet. I mean, when you study math, not speaking Greek or familiar with the Greek alphabet, P is probably the first letter that you see in the maths context, or pi in English. And here I would like to add two letters that are not included in the modern Greek alphabet. So we have sun, looks like an M, but not exactly. Sun, and the lowercase sun is something like this. So it reminds of lowercase m as well, or me. Sun, and then also kof or koppa. And ro. Sigma, two variations here of lowercase sigma. Also one of the first of these letters that I wasn't used to, but that you get in contact with through maths. Like the sum of something, then you use sigma. Tough. Epsilon. Phi, Xi. Psi, omega. So, alpha, beta, gamma, delta, epsilon, phi, zeta, eta, beta, iota, kappa, lambda, mi, ni, xi, omicron, pi. I had to check. Sun. I still have to learn the name of this character. Sun. Xi, Omicron, Pi, San, Kappa. Rho, Sigma, Tav, Epsilon, Phi, Chi, Psi, Omega. And the song I learned didn't include the valve or San or Kappa. It was Alpha, Beta, Gamma, Delta, Epsilon, Zeta, Eta, Theta, Iota, Kappa, Lambda, Mi, Ni, Xi, Omicron, Pi, Rho, Sigma, Tav, Epsilon, Phi, Chi, Psi, Omega. It's actually very simple melody. It's very famous, like children's song melody, but it's really effective to learn through a song actually. When you're learning these kind of completely new things that you just can't really relate to too much, you just have to repeat it over and over again and just learn. But when you have this alphabet, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. So when you include these old characters used in the ancient Greek alphabet, or older version of the alphabet, and you stop here after the 22nd character, then you kind of have the origins of the alphabet, so you can track back even more back in time. So like Phoenician alphabet and Proto-Sinaitic alphabet and Aramaic alphabet, I think. And from those older alphabets, before there were vowels in the alphabet, you can continue in another direction, and then you'll reach like Hebrew alphabet and the Arab alphabet. So, these last letters, I guess, are added in the Greek alphabet by the Greeks, because they would be very useful particularly in the Greek alphabet. Epsilon. These are like combinations. Psi. No, sorry. This is Epsilon Phi. This is Phi. Chi. To sh. That sound very common in Greek language, I guess. Psi. This is just P and S as a combination letter. Omega. I'm not sure when to use omega. It's like a long O, I think. All these letters have like an origin of being a consonant and not vowels. So you can see A, E, I, O, A, E, I, O are all vowels today, but they used to not be. Or I mean, it was the Greeks who made them into vowels somehow, and by doing that also invented the vowels, I think. But these characters have a history of representing consonant sounds as well. Consonants that maybe disappeared or continued living on in just other languages, not in the Greek language, so they could like replace these pictures with vowel sounds. That was useful. actually the sound I was talking about earlier, the ein, was located here in the alphabet at this place. This is 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. The 16th letter was the ein. Ein. And I've already mentioned that E used to be the voiceless version of ein. I think it's called just ha in Arabic. Ha. Iota was actually, yeah, in English now, for example, in Latin alphabets, languages using Latin alphabet, we also have J, but it used to be represented, both I and J used to be represented by this letter. So it has a history of being J, I think. And this one, Alif, used to be called Alep, became Alpha in Greek. Comes from Alep, that means head of an ox. The original picture used to represent Aleph. The sound of Aleph is mostly silent, but I read that it could represent the glottal stop, the plosive version of H, like the sound you make when you say o, but just in between and o, you do a glottal stop, using only the vocal cords. So we have a consonant, we have and we have and we have j. We have b, g, d, f, z, h, th, k, l, m, n, x. But that's actually an invention by the Greeks, I think. That this would stand for the combination k, s, x. Because we also have a lot of characters representing some kind of S sound. A long time ago. So on place 15 we have this is xi, but we used to have samek in other languages. I think it was called samek. The image was something like this. Could represent some pillars holding up a tent, perhaps. Samek. And then we have this sun. The Greek call it sun, but has also a history of being the letter. For example, in Arabic today we have the letter sad. Sad. So it's like a heavier version of S. You have S and you have S, but you pronounce more inwards, more introvert. You don't let the air out of your mouth. You hold it back in a way. keep the air, and it becomes a bit different sound. Thick S or heavy S. Probably it was that distinction from a long time ago, and in Arabic languages this distinction has been kept. So there you have like seen, but there something happened with the other S, I think. They don't have samek in Arabic language, but this, what's now S, I mean, if you look at the alphabet you can see that this is the place where we have the S, modern Latin alphabets. It was called seen, or sheen actually, so it was represented, it has been represented in the sh sound, but also the S sound, so it has been, in some languages it has been called both seen and sheen, but then some languages wanted to make a distinction, so they put the S sound here, I think. So in Arabic I think seen and sheen are two different letters today, and sad is a third S letter. So yeah, the S related letters are really, it's complex, the history. They move around somehow. But originally I think why there are three signs showing, yeah, and then we have Z, of course. In Sweden we have really no distinction between S and Z. We don't use the Z sound in Swedish. And also C in Swedish. And in English also represents some S sound sometimes. So it has been happening a lot, depending on how languages have evolved, of course. But originally I think we had the S sound, it was here, where there are the X, X, or the Xi in the Greek alphabet, between N and O, or Ni and Omicron. That was S, what's now an S sound, and then we had the So here, between P and Q. And then we had the shin, between R and T. And yeah, the old alphabets before the Greeks, many of these from the Middle East, like more than 2,000 years old, those kind of alphabets stopped usually here after 22 letters at T. And then in Latin and English we have, of course, U, V, W, X, Y, Z as well. And why do we have that distinction between I and Y, perhaps? Also F. Something happened with F, it disappeared, for example, from the Greek alphabet, and V had to be, because F and V, of course, are related. They're pronounced very close to each other phonetically. Also B, V, and F. So, somehow, I guess B could be, in Greek, I think this letter actually is pronounced in between what's in many other languages are B and V, so it's like a in the middle mix of those two, like V, V, V. And it's very difficult for me to try to pronounce that. So I guess the Greeks don't really needed a V. But But yeah, depending on what language you speak and how the language evolves, you need more letters. So. And Z, zeta, I mean, this is the old zeta, on place 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It was replaced by G in many languages. G was actually a variation of gamma. So gamma could be both G sound, the hard G sound, and J, the soft G sound. Or K, the K sound as well, I think. Very confusing, but somehow the Latin language needed the C for K sound. I don't know actually about the J, the soft sound here, but K for the hard sound and G for the soft sound. That was, I was thinking about that distinction, not the other one. So K and G. And they didn't use this character for some reason, because otherwise they could have this for K and this for G and this for Z. But anyway, so this was the K sound. I think this could have been used, and it was still in the alphabet. But in Latin, if you read text from Latin sources, then it's not. I think you can't see this very often. This letter. The G, the new invented letter G, was placed here, and then C was placed at the end. And U is like the vowel version of V. U, V, W, X. Not sure why X was invented actually. Or of course I'm not sure, but I don't either have thought about it or have a clue or anything. So I'm just rambling now. I'm not really sure. But it's really fascinating to think about these things. So I'm currently trying to learn both the Hebrew alphabet and the Arabic alphabet, and I did have plans to write something in those alphabets today, but maybe this video will be too long if I do that, so I have to wait for another video to do that. Yeah, still I haven't talked about the E and H relation between those. So this became a vowel, and this is actually a vowel as well in Greek language, so it's E, and this is E. But this was originally, in these old alphabets, I guess, two versions of today's H. And this was the heavy version, I believe this was the heavy version, articulated it at the same point in the throat as Ein. And this one is the glottal version. It used to be like that, I think. That's my theory. Also, it's interesting with the theta and the taf. Theta and taf. In Greek, these are actually distinct sounds now, separated sounds. The th. This sound doesn't have a its own character in many languages. In Icelandic it has. But for example in English you have to write TH or TH for that one, I think. As in think. And this somehow developed into the modern T. But in Arabic we have the I think we have a heavy version of T, but not th, because there are like 3 T versions in Arabic. Th is one of them. But also at this place in the Arabic language alphabet, some versions of the Arabic language alphabet, we have the thick, the heavy version of T, just like I mentioned the heavy version of S, the Sod, then we have Tod, instead of t, pronounced more in the mouth than out. And that could be the origin of this, having like a T related letter here, this place, the alphabet. The 9th letter. Also it's super interesting when you think about that the first 9 letters actually could represent the Arabic numbers that we use now in many languages, many parts of the world. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9 actually, not 6, 7, here you can really see. This could be, so from, if you go back in history to Proto-Sinaic language and then go in the Arabic language direction, and from Arabic to numbers, then it's so cool, you can recognize this shape here. We have the 7, 8, actually I think you can see it in the H, and 6 actually, the theta correlated 6. So that's numbers 1 to 9, the first 9 letters, that's their positions almost. Yeah, you can talk about this, I can talk about this forever. But now I think I have to wait and do another video about the Arabic language perhaps, and continue to talk about this. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you found it relaxing, and I hope you enjoyed, and sleep well. Take care. Thanks for your support.